The blizzard was already taking control of the mountain pass when the German Shepherd suddenly slammed its paws against the dashboard and released a deep, instinctive warning bark, raw and untrained, driven purely by survival. The sound jolted U.S. Army officer Ethan Ryman into an immediate stop on the frozen road. Snow spiraled violently through the beam of the headlights, the wind shrieking like a living force. The dog refused to settle. Its nose was pressed hard against the windshield, eyes locked on something ahead, movement Ethan could barely make out. Then the shapes sharpened, and a crushing weight tightened in his chest in a way even combat had never managed. An elderly woman struggled forward through knee-deep snow, her body bent, shaking with exhaustion. 3 children clung to her coat, stumbling with uneven steps. In her arms, she cradled a newborn whose faint cries were thin and desperate, nearly swallowed by the storm. Before we continue, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm genuinely curious. Where are you watching from? Tell me your country in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Back to the story. Before Ethan could even open his door, the German Shepherd leapt from the truck. Snow burst upward as the dog sprinted toward the group, positioning itself firmly between the family and the darkness behind them. His ears were alert, body rigid, ready. The children froze at the sight of the dog, but it did not bark again. Instead, it sat calmly, close enough for its warmth to reach them. Without hesitation, the smallest child reached out, fingers sinking into the thick fur. Ethan approached slowly, ice already crusting his uniform. When the woman looked up at him, her eyes were hollow, not just from fatigue, but from a terror far deeper than the cold. She tried to speak, but the words fell apart. Her lips trembled as she pulled the baby closer. Between gasping breaths, the truth emerged. Hours earlier, their car had slid off the road. The children's mother was gone, killed by a man whose rage had turned lethal even before the storm arrived. When he realized they were fleeing, he followed them into the blizzard, knowing the mountain might kill them all. The woman hadn't stopped to rest because stopping meant being caught. And being caught meant none of the children would survive. The baby's cries weakened, and Ethan felt time closing in. He stripped off his outer jacket and wrapped the children one by one, ignoring the biting wind against his own skin. The German Shepherd pressed close, nudging them gently, refusing to let anyone fall behind. Its breath clouded the air as it repeatedly glanced back into the white emptiness, sensing movement where nothing should be. Ethan carefully lifted the newborn, stunned by how light the child felt, and helped the woman to her feet, supporting her as her legs nearly gave out. He spoke calmly, steadily, promising warmth and safety, even as his heart pounded with urgency. The storm did not ease as they took slow, painful steps toward his truck. The dog stayed tight at their side, a silent shield against both the cold and whatever pursued them. When they finally turned toward Ethan's remote cabin deep in the mountains, the woman glanced back at the empty road. Tears froze on her cheeks as she realized how close they had come to disappearing forever. Ethan did not look back. He pulled the baby closer, nodded once to his shepherd, and pressed on, unaware that the danger stalking them had not been left behind in the snow, and that this rescue would soon become far more personal than duty alone. By the time they reached the cabin, the storm felt deliberate, almost intelligent. Wind slammed against the walls as if trying to break in. Snow piled so quickly it erased their tracks within minutes. Ethan forced the door open with his shoulder, waved everyone inside, and the German Shepherd entered last, pausing to scan the darkness before stepping in. The door shut with a heavy finality, a clear boundary between safety and what remained outside. Warmth slowly filled the room as Ethan built a fire with practiced hands. His movements were steady, though his thoughts raced. The children sat close together on the floor, wrapped in blankets, bodies still shaking. The dog lay across their feet, solid and breathing, a living anchor holding them in the present. The grandmother sat in a chair, clutching the newborn, whispering quiet prayers as color gradually returned to the baby's lips. Each tiny breath grew stronger than the last. For a few fragile minutes, it felt like they had survived. Then the German Shepherd snapped its head up, ears forward, muscles tight. A low growl rolled from its chest. Not loud, but absolute. Ethan froze. He knew that sound. It wasn't fear. It was a warning. He moved silently to the window and peered through the iced glass. Near the tree line, he saw a shadow, barely visible in the driving snow, too still to be part of the storm. The grandmother saw Ethan's expression change and understood instantly. Her hands shook as she pulled the children closer, eyes wide with recognition. He had found them. Ethan didn't panic. He placed himself between the family and the door, body set, voice low and controlled as he told them to stay quiet. The dog stepped forward, teeth bared now, every fiber of its being focused on the threat outside. A heavy knock struck the door, followed by a man's voice, slurred with rage and desperation, demanding to be let in, claiming the cold would kill him if Ethan didn't open up. Ethan answered through the door, his tone firm and unmistakable. He identified himself as U.S. Army and ordered the man to leave and return to the road. Silence followed, thick, dangerous. Then another knock. Harder, angrier. The German Shepherd launched itself at the door, barking with a ferocity that shook the cabin. The sound alone made the children flinch. Moments later, headlights appeared in the distance, reinforcements finally cutting through the storm. Their beams sliced through the snow like salvation. The man cursed and vanished into the white just as military police vehicles surrounded the cabin. Weapons raised. Commands shouted. Within minutes, the threat was gone, swallowed by the same storm he had used to hunt them. When it was over, the grandmother broke down. Not in fear, but in the kind of tears that come when the body finally believes it is safe. Ethan knelt beside her. The German Shepherd rested its head against his leg, and for the first time all night, Ethan allowed himself to breathe. The children reached out to pet the dog, small hands full of gratitude they didn't yet have words for. The baby slept peacefully, alive because a soldier and his dog had refused to look away. Long after the storm passed, long after the road reopened, the family would not remember this as the night that almost ended everything, but as the night when the growl of a German Shepherd, the resolve of a soldier, and a cabin in the mountains gave them their future back. This story has touched millions of hearts. Did it touch yours? Let us know with a like. Comment yes and subscribe or follow for more extraordinary stories like this.